As always, there is a ton to get to with Bill O'Reilly, who you hear with the morning update at 7:15 on KCMO. You hear the No Spin News weeknights at 8 p.m. And if you are not a premium member of BillO'Reilly.com, what are you waiting for? Father's Day is right around the corner. The books are always included. And now is the time to get on it. Here he is, Bill O'Reilly on KCMO, fresh off a trip overseas. He happened to have a meeting with the Chinese Communist Party leadership. And Bill, we'll start there. Do you feel better or worse about the Trump administration's attempt to try to build a rapport with Xi and the Chinese Communist Party in the wake of your trip?
Better. We had 3 hours with the members of the Politburo, the most powerful people in China, including the top advisor to Xi. And then 3 days later, they had the phone call, which, I'm not taking the credit for it, Mundo, but it was a nice coincidence and more, I don't know how I would characterize it, more negotiations, are set. It's a very volatile situation, but I was able to present President Trump's point of view in a way that the communist leadership had not heard.
And is that is that because you have known him for so long and you were able to talk as somebody who's a friend, or why is that?
Well, I talk to him on a regular basis, number one, which is why I can't understand why I don't have 335 million concierge members. Look, there's nobody in the country that has the access that I have. Nobody. And I'm the guy who's going to tell you exactly what's going on. I'm not going to spin it in any way. So if you are an American who cares about your country and your family and yourself, and you want to stay ahead, which you have to do in this world, of what could possibly happen, then there's only one place to go, and that's BillO'Reilly.com, because the other legacy media is going to lie to you on both sides. Pro-Trump people will lie to you, and anti-Trump people will lie to you. Right to your face, they'll lie to you. And then the other so-called social media people don't have the access. They don't know. So I was able to go in there, and I didn't want to give a speech. I took Q&A for more than 90 minutes, and they had the headphones on because half the people, maybe even more, didn't speak English. So it was instant translation like they have at the United Nations. And I wasn't bellicose. They watch me on YouTube in Beijing, which is why I got the invitation. And I said, look, I'm not going to be like I usually am on radio and television. I'm just going to sit here and answer your questions as honestly as I can. And if I don't know something, I'll tell you. So the questions were wide-ranging, but I picked up some very important things. Like Taiwan is by far and away the main issue for the communists. Not the tariffs, not, the balloons flying over Montana, not any of that. It's absolutely Taiwan. And there was a lot of information that came from them to me about it because they knew, and I told them, that I was going to debrief President Trump. And so they wanted to get messages to him, which I did. We got back late Saturday night last week, and on Sunday I spoke to the president for half an hour. And I said, this is where they are, it's what they want. And a lot of it was not the predictable stuff that everybody thinks. They're willing to deal on Taiwan, so they say. And then I know I always get, well, you can't trust them. Okay, you can't trust them. Well, what's plan B? Mm-hmm. And then there's silence. There is no plan B. You got to make a deal with these people. It's by far and away the most important story in the world. So I was privileged to be in that room. I did the best for my country, which is why I did it. My son was with me. He's just recently graduated college. He's going for a master's in American government. And I said, look, I'm not over here promoting the Trump administration or myself or BillO'Reilly.com. I'm over here trying to calm this situation down. And I don't know whether I succeeded, but they were happy with the presentation, and I was not thrown into a gulag, which is a good thing for me.
Well, that was most important, Bill, because we were worried that these highly rated monthly hits that we do were going to go by the wayside if things didn't turn out well for you over there. But, hey, I've met your son Spencer, and, I mean, gosh, he's grown half a foot in the last couple of years, so I figured he's a pretty good bodyguard to have by your side over there, is he not?
Yeah, he's a lacrosse player, and, there's not a 21-year-old in the world that has seen what he's seen or heard of what he's heard. And, he wants public service, so I drag him into these things. We went to Japan, to China, to Korea, whipping around. And, I'm hoping that all this down the road does the country and him, of course, he's my son, a lot of good.
Now, there's no doubt about it. Sharp kid, and he's going places, no doubt about it. Bill O'Reilly's here on KCMO, streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Now, you mentioned your 35-year relationship with the President of the United States. Late last week, of course, the President's feud with Elon Musk hit an apex. Elon's gone. Bill, how surprised are you that this ended the way it did late last week between these two guys?
I wasn't surprised about much. When I was in the cabinet meeting with the president and Musk on St. Patrick's Day, I took it in. I don't know Elon Musk at all, and that was probably the height of their bromance, as they say. They were buds. But to me, I never thought this was a long-term relationship. And I don't assign blame here because I'm not there in the room. I don't know. I do know that Elon Musk has been battered and beaten by the anti-Trump forces, and he's lost, hundreds of billions of dollars, if you can imagine that, because of the business end of it. So he's got to be on edge. Got to be. And then probably there was some things that happen. I don't want to speculate. I think I know, but if you follow my commentary on BillO'Reilly.com, there was an overreaction, it looks like to me, from Mr. Musk, and then it got back and forth, and then it got out of control. Look, Pete, what people listening to you and me right now have to understand is there is no rougher neighborhood in the world than this. You have got to be supremely disciplined because you're under attack and siege every hour of every day. And Elon Musk isn't trained for that. Trump has been through it. And even Trump lashes out like crazy because he can. He's got the power to do it. But Musk doesn't. So I wrote in my column on it, and I hope everybody goes to BillO'Reilly.com and reads the column. It's called Elon, We Hardly Knew Ya. That you can't vent in public and expect a positive outcome. You can't. Because too many people want you to be destroyed. And so when this thing blew up, I knew. But it's not an important story for the long run. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Musk did a good job exposing government waste. That was very worthy. I assume that will continue under other people in Doge. But, the big situations, is there going to be a spending bill passed? Because if not, Donald Trump's in trouble because taxes will automatically go up, and that probably will lead to a recession. Is he going to get Xi to sit down and hammer out deals? And how do you deal with a psychotic Putin? I mean, he's way more important than Musk calling him names and vice versa.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly's on KCMO. Now, of course, the headlines over the weekend stolen by Los Angeles, and we're looking at some of these anti-ICE protests that are hitting Los Angeles yesterday and expected to continue today. Is this something that is a political win for the President of the United States, Bill?
Yes. This is a big win for Trump. And Trump knows it, which is why he sent a guard in there. So he got hammered, Trump, on January 6th because he didn't send the guard in. Everybody got to remember that. Now, he would have been, and the reason he didn't send it in was because of Nancy Pelosi. because Pelosi had full authority of the Capitol and Capitol security, and the woman absolutely, said, you can't do this. The optics are bad. Don't do it. And Trump, had the guard on call and didn't send them. That lesson still sticks in the president's craw right now. So when this broke out, he knew Newsom wouldn't do anything, and that's absolutely true. And even people who were arrested for torching cars or businesses or whatever wouldn't be prosecuted. Trump knew that. And he said, most of the Americans are on my side. They don't want this insane Biden open border policy to continue, so I'm going to send in a guard. So it's a big win for Donald Trump because the people who oppose it hate him, 100%. And then you get the nuts waving the Mexican flags and all of this, and the rest of the people who are not ideological, who don't choose sides, they're just regular folks, they're appalled by that. And so Trump wins.
So then why, Bill, because that's common sense, why is it that we've seen over the last 24 to 48 hours, folks in your neck of the woods, the Cory Bookers, the Chris Murphys going on MSNBC and backing and supporting some of these protests? What do they think they're going to get out of this?
Well, it's a continuation of the disintegration of the Democratic Party. That's all it is. On my show tonight on the No Spin News, I'm going to use a bunch of sound bites of these people saying, yeah, it's okay. They did the same thing with George Floyd. You remember that, Pete? The same thing. Oh, yeah, burn it down. Fine. It's okay. Trump's the guy. Trump's at fault. Because the left wing of the Democratic Party, which is now 80% of the party, they don't want any constraints on illegal immigration. They like the open border. They don't want to kick anybody out, including criminals. They don't want to. And again, then people who are sane, who are, sitting home and watching, they go, we're not throwing in with these people. So I don't know where they think they're going to go, how they're going to reorganize the Democratic Party when it gets worse and worse and worse on the far left. Mm-hmm. So again, that's a win for Trump. Not only does he bolster his credentials as a tough guy for the MAGA crew, but his opposition looks like irresponsible idiots. So he wins on both levels.
And in a weird way, doesn't this help Newsom in a Democratic primary, which he is clearly angling for in 2028?
Look, Republicans and conservatives should pray that Gavin Newsom is the nominee for the Democratic Party. They should be going to novenas, right, to pray that happens. Because that man will never be elected president of the United States. You could run Christiane Amanpour against him, and she'd win. That's how crazy he is. And everybody knows him now. They just know. They're not going to vote for him. So, again, unless the Democratic Party reorganizes, which I don't expect, because the big money, and that's what drives all politics, is on the far left and remains so.
Boy, it's going to be a heck of a week. You got to be tuning in to the No Spin News, 8 p.m. weeknights here on KCMO. The morning update at 7:15 with Bill O'Reilly. The BillO'Reilly.com premium membership is well worth your time. The concierge membership. Bill, anything special for Father's Day coming up this weekend?
Well, I hope I can take a nap. That's all I want. I mean, I'm so woozy on that trip, and I want everybody to know I paid for that trip myself. Nobody kicked me any money or honorariums. I turned the honorarium down. I'm not in business to do any of that. No, I went in there to Beijing on Air China from Osaka, Japan. I paid every nickel of it because I'm doing this for my country. I'm not doing it for anything else. And here's another wrinkle. No journalist in the history of this country has ever done that at that level. Mm-hmm. I didn't get one word in the legacy media about the trip. Now, everybody knows about it because there's social media. Everybody knows. And, people who matter. But not one word. No calls, no inquiries, nothing. And that shows you the fear that these legacy media have, that they know they're being overtaken by independent people like me.
It's a great point.
And so there's a total blackout of this kind of a thing where it's, what a story that was. And it is fascinating to see this big media change in this country.
Great point. Well, I hope at the very least Spencer writes you a nice card for that trip you just took him on, because that is a heck of an experience. That's great,
yeah,
Bill.
He better. I told him, the ultimate, if you don't toe the line, you're going to be back for 3 weeks in Beijing. How are you going to like that?
Bill O'Reilly. Bill, thank you so much, as always, for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
All right. Well done, as always, by Bill O'Reilly. Find him at BillO'Reilly.com. The No Spin News, weeknights, 8 p.m. here on KCMO. Streaming, as always, on the KCMO Talk Radio app.